Should we get out Ride of the Valkyrie? Now, we got to be careful here because somehow Trump has licensed the Foo Fighters, Here Comes My Hero. And I don't know how the hell he did that. Maybe Dave Grohl isn't quite the crazy left. Who knows? But it's probably got strike and copyright written all over it. Oh, my God. We could hear a few words. I'm sure by now you've heard Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of Robert Kennedy, and the nephew of President John F. Kennedy, has joined, sort of, the Trump campaign. Now, is this a raging endorsement of Trump? I don't know. I don't know about Kennedy. Don't know much about him. He was a third-party guy. He wanted to run. He didn't agree with the Democrats, and particularly got pissed off when he kind of saw Biden was on the way out and they didn't want to have a primary, all that. I know, it's political talk. Come on, man. We can't just talk about bitches and hoes and boats. Well, we could. But D-Man 50 is here. Good morning. Yes, I've got my coffee here. And I don't quite have the drunk hungover voice, though, so sorry about that. Because I didn't have any beers last night. I know. What's the matter with you? You sick? Something wrong with you? They run out of beer at the beer store. Well, maybe. I didn't go there. So let me turn that down a little bit. Okay. There we go. Oh, yeah. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of the famed Kennedy family dynasty. As you know, his uncle was John F. Kennedy, the president, who was assassinated, by the way, November 22nd, 1963. And his father, Robert Kennedy, assassinated in July 1968. Two other prominent figures were assassinated as well, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Now, why do you suppose? Well, let's not open that box of worms, boys and girls. It happened, right? Who did it? We'll probably never know for sure, but it's claimed that they have certain people that did. So I don't know. The point is, he comes from the legacy of the Kennedys, and of course, there's good and bad in the Kennedys, just like every other family. But you know, John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, if he were alive today. Same with Robert Kennedy. Same with Bill Clinton, and almost Obama. These people couldn't get elected dog catcher in the Democrat Party of today because it resembles nothing like it used to resemble. And that's kind of what Kennedy is saying. It's like, hey, wait a minute. We used to be for the opposite things in a lot of cases, and Democrat Party is kind of the 180 degrees out of phase with his uncle and his father, or the Democrat Party from say 20 years ago. They've gone off the crazy train, boys and girls. That's what happened. And it seems like that the Democrat Party, I don't even, they're not really the Democrat Party, whatever. The crazy, the people, the nutty people. All they care about is factions, right? They keep saying, oh, no, we're going to make America great again and all that other. I think Trump actually means it. Whether he'll be able to do it, he's not Jesus Christ. We know that. He's not the Messiah. And Kennedy isn't an apostle, right? They're just men. But Kennedy had every chance, and the Kamala Harris campaign had every chance to reach out to Mr. Kennedy and say, hey, yo, come on over to the big tent. And they didn't. And his third-party candidate, his candidacy was, not going anywhere. Because that's not the way this machine works in this country, is it? You got two parties, and that's it. If you ain't getting this, sorry. Now, I think some other countries, I don't know the system in the UK, but I think there's more parties than just two, right? Then they form coalitions, parliamentary system. Germany, I think, is kind of the same way, and Israel and other places. But here, good old United States of America. If you ain't blue or red, you got no fucking chance. Know what I'm saying? Anyway, So some of what Robert Kennedy has to say, I totally agree with, like the additives in food and the poison and the ADHD. He's not far off. It's kind of a, it should be more of a widespread concern. I think it's more of a niche concern. But us men here, haven't you been wondering why all the boys are put on some kind of Adderall or some kind of horse shit when they're children? It's kind of something to think about. All this autism and all this ADHD and all this shit that didn't really necessarily, wasn't widespread maybe 50 years ago. Possibly, is there any correlation between the food and the thing and the plastics in your dick, all that crap, right? Forever chemicals never go away. Plastics, pesticides, gene splicing, all that. I mean, and I'm no expert at it, but I do tend to follow it, and I do read the ingredients when I go to the grocery store. I always do that. Oh, it's got soy filler in it. I think I'll pass. Thank you. No, I mean, food-wise, it is a pain in the ass to find food that isn't full of these artificial chemicals, right? For taste and various other things. And is this causing problems with our health? Well, gosh, blame God. Though, of course, there's many different things changing at the same time, right? 100 years ago, well, the farmers could eat anything and they wouldn't gain. They were all skinny. Well, yeah, because they were out busting their ass 12 hours a day in the field and doing hard physical labor. Lumberjacks could eat 12,000 calories a day, but they burned it off. So since the Industrial Revolution and office work, and now we're all sedentary, really, a lot of us, we don't need that many calories, but we like to eat them anyway. You know what I'm saying? So we get fat, heart disease, cancer, all kinds of shit. For no reason, you should stop eating the plastic food packaging. It's really bad for you. Okay. Anyway, so Kennedy dropped his campaign, endorsed Donald Trump, and Donald is going to give him some gibs, as you would expect, the way politics works. So let's listen.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think too many of you people have heard of him.
His values such as we kind of like our country and we think it's probably fixable. We don't have to burn it down and make it a socialist hellhole, right? There are problems. We can fix these problems. It seems like both parties are immune to that, though, huh? Always want to have some political thing to keep. I mean, Trump is not wrong. I mean, you can listen to his whole speech. It's on the internet somewhere. This was in Glendale, Arizona. And, he brought up some things, and I was half listening. And, Kamala Harris has been in there, for 4 years. And, the past 16 years, 12 of those have been run by Democrats. Why in the world didn't they fix all these problems they continue to complain about? Fair point, isn't it? Anyway, go ahead, Mr. President.
He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
And I mean, we're going to have to cut out the music here. Listen to the crowd. Now, okay, well, Hamster, what they do is they plant microphones in certain places. And I know. They amplify it. Yeah, I get it. But they still kind of went nuts.
Great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Actually, you could hear that. There was a noise gate that popped on there. You may not. Did you hear that?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Hear that? That's right there. Very obvious. But I mean, check this. Look at this shit. Okay, so we got flashing lights here. It's like a wrestling match. I'm gonna kill the music here. Look at this. Pyrotechnics. Do you fucking believe it? Oh my God. Mm-hmm. There it is. Look at this guy. Oh my. Fucking A, man. Now that's a show, boys. That's a fucking show. And, listen to it for yourself. I mean, the crowd is just going ape shit. Well, at least the ones in the other side of the camera, these guys behind are like, whatevs. All right, let's go back to it here. Let's get the video.
Whoa.
Pyrotechnic. You got to love this shit. Trump, my God, man.
And he deserves it. He deserves it.
Beautiful. Look at all those Nazis. Oh, my God. What are we going to do now? Yeah, a little bit of enthusiasm. But, I mean, same thing with Vice President Harris. I mean, there was a bunch of people out there screaming, oh, my God. Blah, blah, blah. Of course, they were screaming and yelling about what? Abortion and pills and shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And government price controls and free money and all kinds of happy, good, socialist type shit. Right.
For the past 16 months, Bobby has run.
I want to buy your house.
Oh, my
I can
God.
pay you cash for your house.
Really?
No matter what condition it's in.
Now, if I go buy a dump and I come to you and you're going to give me more money than I paid, is that right? Well, that's cool. That's really nice.
An extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know. Because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in.
Oh, it's possible. You never know. But we will never know, will we?
They put up rules. I've never seen rules like you had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, little things like that. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign, grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy.
Again, both of those men, there's no way those people would be on the Democrat Party today. Neither John nor Robert would be a friggin' Democrat. They would be a Trumpster if they were alive today. I mean, look at the policies of John F. Kennedy when he was president. Very similar to Trump. Cut taxes, growth, get jobs, all that stuff. Really. It's true.
And I know that they are looking down right now, and they
Oh, yeah, he's quite anti-communist as well. I know. The Cuba thing. And Cuba, right.
Are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby. You want to know the truth? And I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody that got applause like that.
I gotta admit, And of course, CNN is going to go, well, look at all these empty seats here. Look at all these empty seats. Oh, my God. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. Oh, my God. Trump had a rally, and there were empty seats on either side of him on the phone. You got to love this shit, don't you? This is
amazing.
Michelle Guevara is here.
Still.
SCE is in the building. Oh, my God. We got the master wrench in the building. Hello, SCE.
Amazing.
Yeah. 4 more years.
Soon after I was, I can't even believe I have to say this, nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month, Bobby called me to express his best wishes. He knows firsthand.
SCA, no. I'm just saying. I could hear CNN or MSNBC saying, "Oh, look at those empty seats there. Oh my God, Trump sucks. He's a loser." Even though we can see there's stairs.
The risks incurred by leaders
Making
who
a point,
stand
these
up
people
to
just make
the
shit up.
corrupt political establishment. When you stand up, you bring on some trouble for yourself, but you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for the country. I will tell you, we are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you.
I mean, I like the idea of the big tent. Bring in smart people. And I assume Kennedy is smart. I don't know. Don't know much about him. But I mean, you know, it's a little hard listening to him speak because he's got some kind of a functional problem with his vocal cords and stuff. But I mean, you know, I assume that he knows what he's talking about. Bring in the smart people, even from the other side. Let all the Democrats come in if they want, not the lefties. Do a whole different ballgame. Tulsi Gabbard, bring her in. Why not? Bring in Kennedy. Bring in some other Democrats that are a little bit unhappy with the crazy train that the other Democrats are on. The Looney Tunes, the crazy people. Oh my God! Wait a minute, Hamster. You're saying it's crazy that women should have that? I mean, no, not talking about the stuff that kind of makes sense. I'm talking about the shit that doesn't make sense, and you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Alphabet people. Corn in elementary schools, all kinds of DEI bullshit. You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby
Gotti with Johnny is here.
Himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety during the course of his campaign while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon
drinking coffee every day didn't work for me, but I couldn't figure out why until I went from 184 to 123.
Oh, good.
I was doing everything right.
I
just needed
my election.
One of those
I will
mornings
establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts.
Maybe I should get some beer.
And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
D is here. Hello, D.
And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack last month. But I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more.
Ian Blades is here. Grizzle yourself, you big son. Are you warming up some brewskis over there in Scotland, or was it
millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food.
You know, who has been, to some degree, at the forefront of the toxic waste and all this in the food shit? It'd be Michael Moore, wouldn't it? Remember Michael Moore, the filmmaker, the crazy radical Democrat? I think you do. Remember, what was the Roger and Me, the GM thing up in Michigan? And I think he did some food stuff and whatever. It's radical Democrat, right? Maybe we should have him on the committee as well, right? Seems to me he kind of knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. Yeah,
That's
Super
why
Size
today
Me guy.
I'm repeating my pledge to establish.
Super Size Me guy, unfortunately, he just passed away, I believe. So, but again, yeah, he would be another one that you could probably talk to about that.
A panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is
Is it the Mull of Kintyre Festival? Mull of Kintyre. That's Paul McCartney, right?
causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more.
I mean, aren't these big problems that somebody should be thinking about? Aren't they? Why is everybody getting so fat? Well, you go back to the food pyramid of the 70s. I mean, and certainly that's part of it. The changing work environment that we have, of course, not as physically active. I mean, you go and look at, guys who are laying roads down and stuff. Generally they tend to be, not as fat as the rest of us. It's pretty amazing. But the food pyramid, the whole, well, it's a tangent, but, telling us instead of eating meat and vegetables and various other things, here, load up on grains and cereal. Gee, I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I don't know. Probably.
We want every child in America to grow up and to live a long and healthy.
The Mall of Kentucky. That's fucking funny. Thank you, SC. That's why you're the master wrench. You're everywhere on the internet.
The life. So I just want to ask Bobby to speak for a little while. I'll stand aside. I'm going to stand aside. But I can only tell you, I've known him a long time. We've been a little bit on the opposite side.
Spearman.
Of the equation, but I will say this, he is a brilliant, I still think of him as young. He's not that young. I always call him young, but he's not that young.
Mules of inspiration.
But he is a phenomenal person, a phenomenal man who loves the people of this country as much as anybody can love the people of this country. So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
Now, Robert Kennedy, this man, he's 70 years old. He definitely doesn't look 70. He probably looks in his 50s, I would say. So he's in good shape. Really good shape, I think. And he does have his father's eyes. If they get a close-up of his eyes, he's got the same sort of eyes. The eyes that kind of part. They go left and right. They kind of part from the middle. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see the resemblance. I mean, obviously not exactly, but go ahead.
Thank you.
Frenchie.
Thank you, President Trump.
And I do, okay. Hamster, why don't you drink some beer? You wouldn't be noticing this. I know. Look at his tie. I mean, that's straight out to 60s, bro. The skinny tie. Looks good, though. Looks good. Yeah, Bobby Brainworm, right? Yeah.
Thank you. A few hours after the assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to.
Spearman. I have. I'm not disagreeing. I mean, he's a lefty in a lot of ways, but again, the Kamala Harris thought he wasn't lefty enough. The VP campaign, he's not lefty enough, right? It seems to me that if Kamala Harris and her gang of crazy people don't like this guy, for me, that's a reason to give the guy a chance. I mean, he's not appointing him to be vice president or the Supreme Court. He's going to be on a committee to look in the assassination and be on some kind of food committee. I think that's great, right? Apparently he's well-versed in this food additive stuff, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, because his daughter owns Just Stop Oil. Well, I mean, that's just too much money. Not very smart is what I think.
And the corruption at CDC and FDA and USDA.
Inner Circle is here. Let's put this up here. Hold on. Can I read it? Hammy, hope you're well. I've had to stop getting any news in the UK. It's just too sad. Man jailed 15 months for anti-establishment rhetoric. Oh, yes, we kind of heard that through the grapevine. RFK Jr. is a perfect example why you shouldn't eat sushi. Is that what happened? The sushi brainworms got in there? Oh, God. It's terrible. Go on. Yeah, in case you haven't been following the news in the UK, apparently if you say anything that's against the establishment, they can throw you in jail. What the fuck is that if it's not Orwell? 1984, Oceania, Airstrip 1 stuff. I mean, come on. It's crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
These institutions, these regulatory agencies are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president. And we talked. We had a very good talk.
Do you own your own home in Missouri, but still rent your electricity? For a limited time only, homeowners in specific zip codes who pay more than $70 a month in electricity bill.
For some reason. So no storms or anything. Just kind of.
He invited me to come see him the next day, and I went to Minneapolis and saw him.
Yeah,
again.
Exactly, S.E. Ingsoc. No. Big Brother's watching you, man.
A couple of weeks later in Florida. And we talked not about the things that separate us because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. RFK is spinning in his grave. Is that right? Brandon Trueblood. Oh, my God. Psycho. Why are you up so early? I don't know. It's not that early. It's 8:30 Central Time, United States of America, Missouri. It's not that early. Plus, I didn't drink any beers last night, so I got to go to the beer store.
Our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world.
Yeah.
Don't you want healthy children?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And don't you want the chemicals out of our food?
Yeah.
And don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption?
You mean when he called up, what's his face on the telephone? Is that what you mean? Fat doggy? Fat dog is in the building. Fat dog. Fat dog.
And that's what President Trump told me that he wanted. He also told me that he wanted to end the grip of the neocons on U.S. foreign policy.
That was Greg Gutfeld or something. They cut Trump off, and Trump called him on his own cell phone. Yeah. Maybe we'll try to find that. I don't know.
And he wanted to end the grip of the neocons on U.S. foreign policy.
Howdy. Morning, afternoon, evening.
He said he didn't want any more $200 billion wars.
1533 in Occitan. That's southern France, right? Yes, it is. Where the Cathars used to hang out. You know all that story, I'm sure, Michelle.
In Ukraine, that we could use that money back here in the United States.
Oh yeah, Brand. Inner circle. Brexit was a joke. People voted for it, and the government said, "Nah, we're not going to do that. Sorry, oops. We don't like that answer, so we're not going to do it." Or certainly not enthusiastically implement it.
And the best way to build a safe America is to rebuild our industrial base and rebuild the middle class in this country. And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country?
Yep.
And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship. because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history and say that the people who were censoring were the good guys? They're always the bad guys. Because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism.
No, I see. I totally agree. Bring it back here, man. Jobs, we can do things. I mean, we were the arsenal of democracy, right? In World War II. I mean, we ramped up. We had women building fucking tanks and the men fighting the war and all kinds of shit. We have the resources. We have the people. We have the ability to do this. But for some reason, I don't know, some guy named Bill Clinton said, oh, no, man, we're just going to be a service economy. Remember that? I think you do, SCE, don't you? Why are the liberals having a meltdown? Well, they basically told Robert Kennedy to F off. We don't want anything to do with you. Thank you. And now they're saying, wait a minute. God, did we fuck up? Maybe. No, I guess the question would be, is this going to move the Trump needle? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? Just like making an open tent, bring in really smart people and let them make really good decisions. Because, I mean, Trump is just one man, right? So I think he learned his lesson from 2016. Surround yourself with really smart people. Not the swamp creatures, right? Get rid of some of those and put in some other people, I think.
And
A good idea.
You want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's some shit going on with the dollar as reserve currency and all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yes, inner circle. It is bizarre, isn't it? The wolves voting with the sheep voting for who's going to be for. Yeah, I know.
And who is going to protect us against totalitarianism.
Yeah, you're right. Not the Republicans, not the rhinos, not the whatever the fuck is going on with the Republican Party, but Trump. Yes, that's right. Correcto. Hey, James,
and
good morning.
I want to ask you again, don't you want a safe environment for your children?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease.
Now, normal people would 100% agree with Mr. Kennedy here, but we're not trying to convince normal people, are we? Listen to what he said.
For your children. Don't you want a safe environment for your children?
For the really wacky strains of the Democrat Party, they hate children. They hate them because they like to, well, the sacrament, you know. Children are a burden to the women because, oh my God, they hate them. Fewer children, the better. Yeah.
Oh, you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease.
Michael says Big Pharma doesn't like healthy.
And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Yes.
Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
All right, hug time. Yeah, well, there you go. So now we got Robert Kennedy, probably not going full MAGA, but in certain areas. And I mean, who disagrees really with some of this stuff? You want your kids to be healthy, right? We want people to be healthy and fit, not get cancer and die and all that, right? Right? So Nobody wants wars, right? RK Jr. makes a lot. Well, yeah, but she's the person of color, and oh my God, she's a woman. And I hear she's as charming as Hillary Clinton, is what Jen Psaki said. So, I mean, for God's sake, what could possibly go wrong with that? So, yeah, interesting. Comrade Shamala. Well, I mean, it's just, what are, excuse me, sound like, what are the plans that we know of that she proposed? $25,000 first-time home buyer, free money, right? What's that going to do to the cost of housing? Anyone? Free money, more money chasing things. What happens? Supply and demand, pretty simple. And price caps on food. Anyone? Exactly, psycho. This is not some super genius calculus, multivariate analysis here. You start handing out free money, more money chasing fewer things, the price goes up. It's not that fucking hard. Is it? No, it's not that fucking hard. So RFK as vice president, I don't know. I mean, Vance is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. But I mean, RFK in the cabinet, Vivek in the cabinet. I mean, it's a cornucopia of talent this year. I mean, it is. There's always, good people out there, but sometimes they don't get recognized. I think Vivek is pretty sharp. He can do something. I'd like to see Tulsi do something. Health and Humans, well, not HS, but Homeland Security would be fucking hilarious. Since Homeland Security has been following her around, that'd be awesome. There's a bunch of other people, even Nikki Haley, man. Hey, what the hell? So I think as long as Trump can find people that are not anti him, right? They might have different ideas, such as Robert Kennedy here. He might be more of a Democrat, whatever. But I mean, can we be honest? Trump's a freaking Democrat, right? An old school, a John F. Kennedy type Democrat, right? He doesn't really fit in today's Republican Party, right? Now let's talk about assassinations, and then I gotta go get some beer or coffee or something, right? Let's look over, say, the last century. We won't go back to, who was it? Theodore Roosevelt. Let's see which presidents were assassinated. Well, of course, John F. Kennedy is the obvious one. Robert Kennedy, assassinated. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. These are not presidents, but these are, prominent people who've been assassinated. George Wallace was shot, right, and crippled. Gerald Ford. Ronald Reagan, shot and almost died. Trump. Notice anything about the people who've been targets of assassination or have been assassinated? Anything you noticed? Oh, they were mostly Republicans, weren't they? But John F. Kennedy was a Democrat. He was a Democrat of the time. But his policies are not leftist, communist type policy. You know what I'm saying? Just, sure, he was D in name, but was he really? So there you go. And of course, Trump. Can't forget about that. I wonder if there's any connection. Anti-establishment. Bingo! Psycho. Of course, Reagan, he was, I suppose, anti-establishment. Ford, I don't know what Ford was, right? I think Nixon actually got screwed big time. I don't think Nixon should have resigned. Nixon was actually a very, very smart guy. So in some ways, in other ways, he was really stupid. But would the impeachment have taken him out? I don't know. I don't know. But Nixon was not a stupid man. He was actually, there's videotapes of him all over the internet if you're interested. He was a sharp guy. He was a very smart guy. Yeah, Reagan, man, it's March of 1981, man. 2 months after he took office, they tried to take him out. There you go. All right. Hey. How does putting an anti-vax conspiracy theorist and the Secretary of Health and Human Services 4 years after Rodeo died from planning? I don't know. Is he an anti-vaxxer? I have no idea. I think a lot of people, it's a broad brush that people are painted with. Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer. No. Anti the one particular one that wasn't fully tested as all the other ones were. See? I know there's a slight difference there, isn't there? See, this one, oh, you're against polio and mumps and measles and rubella and rabies. And then no. Just the one that was rushed into production after 6 months that killed a lot of people. Allegedly. I don't know that for sure. So, yeah. Well, I guess I don't. I would imagine if Kennedy is anti-vax, he's going for the autism side of that vaccines cause autism. I mean, I've heard these rumors. I have no idea. So that's what I've heard. I don't know anything about it. But I guess we'll see. But they're not putting him in Health and Human Services, sir. He's just going to be a consultant on a couple of committees. So it's not like he's going to have any substantial power. But he's going to be kind of consulting and whatever. So, I mean, he's, apparently a smart guy when it comes to nutrition and all that stuff. Bring him in. Let's hear what he has to say. All right. I'm going to go get some beer or breakfast or something. I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful morning, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.